Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Parliament was on fire today. William Samoei Ruto and his brigades were defeated in numbers. But if you ask me, on strategy, William Ruto beat President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Amolo Odinga hands down. It seems President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Amolo Odinga were not well prepared for what the deputy president had under the table. And let me assure you one thing, that if there is one thing which William Ruto is not going to allow to happen easily, then it's going to be the passage of political parties amendment bill. Parliament will have their way. Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga will have their way in parliament. But I'm sure that the deputy president is going to go beyond parliament. He's likely to go to court. And the courts are likely, because based on the previous rulings, the courts are likely to nullify that bill. And the question is, why is William Ruto and his brigade so determined to block this political parties amendment bill? Let me take you back. When Raila Amolo Odinga held the last Azimio la Umoja meeting in Kasarani, Raila Odinga alluded to the possibility of formation of a coalition, the Azimio la Umoja Alliance or movement, Azimio la Umoja movement. The political parties amendment bill, based on my own understanding, is going to make it possible for Raila Amolo Odinga to run as the Azimio candidate. And other political parties are going to join. This is what William Ruto is not going to allow. So last week, he thwarted attempts to pass this bill using the Deputy Speaker, Moses Cheboy, who is a member of the UDA, and they bragged about it. And President Uhuru Kenyatta summoned, and I did a video about that, the Speaker of the National Assembly. And the Speaker of the National Assembly convened a special sitting of Parliament today. And it was chaos. The only thing I know for sure is that William Ruto does not have numbers in Parliament. The numbers he brags of are not real. But when it comes to strategy, I think he outwitted President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Amolo Odinga. Clearly, President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Amolo Odinga were not well prepared for what the deputy president had in mind. So I observed the following during today's debate. And by the way, I promised to do a video on this political parties amendment bill, what it means, what it's intended to achieve, how its passage is going to pave way for Raila Amolo Odinga's presidency. I'll do that video. If not tomorrow, I've been a bit busy by the way. If not tomorrow, then I'll do it the day after tomorrow. But for now, I just want to focus on what happened in Parliament. Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta under Azimio la Umoja defeated the deputy president. He doesn't have the numbers. But I observed several things. The first thing I observed is that, number one, William Ruto doesn't have numbers. If you followed the voting, William Ruto did everything to get the numbers, to block this bill. Those numbers could not add up. On Raila Odinga's side and President Uhuru Kenyatta's side, there are certain things I observed also. For example, there were members of parliament who were not present in parliament. Why would Bondo, member of parliament, for example, Gideon Ochanda, miss in action on such an important day? Raila Odinga comes from Bondo. That's his ancestral home. His member of parliament down there was missing in parliament. There were other members of parliament from Nyanza who were missing. in parliament. Why were they missing? It means probably they were not whipped. But for William Ruto, he whipped his members of parliament. All of them came to parliament ready. In the first vote, they defeated Azimio. And that's when Azimio woke up and everybody was within Nairobi rushed to parliament. So when it comes to strategy, if you ask me, the DP defeated these guys, but he lacks the numbers. What would explain that anytime the DP has a rally or a meeting in Karen, there are always over 150 members of parliament? When the time to prove those numbers comes, those numbers are never there. So he doesn't have numbers. So that's one thing which we now conclude, that when it comes to numbers, the DP doesn't have the numbers. The second thing I observed, which in my view is a good strategy for the DP, is that the DP really mobilized his troops. They were well mobilized. Those who were out of town, there were choppers flying all over the country, picking them. One picking Osoro from here, another one picking a member of parliament from Turkana, another one picking a member of parliament from Coast, another one Kambani, Western. So the DP had choppers flying just to pick members of parliament to block this particular bill. So which means for him, he took this as a matter of life and death. And sometimes I ask myself, is there a chance that this particular bill can end up helping the deputy president than it's going to help Raila Amolo Odinga? Because we witnessed, like in the last constitutional change in 2010, the DP opposed it, but is the biggest beneficiary. The truth of the matter is that William Ruto is not keen on working with small political parties for reasons which are very understandable. That if you allow, for example, Moses Kuria to work with you in central Kenya, his political party will win few members of parliament there. But if you don't allow him to do that, then those members of parliament can actually be elected on your party ticket. And that's what the DP doesn't want. He wants people he can control. So he made sure that he mobilized his troops. So on that strategy, it worked for him. The second strategy which he employed, which has worked since last time, is the delaying tactics. When this motion was brought to parliament last time, they came up with amendments, and those amendments is the reason why that bill delayed up to today. So today, when they went to the House, again, they started applying the same strategy, delaying tactics. Almost 10 members of parliament from William Ruto's camp came up with the amendments. Some amendments were actually just thrown by the deputy speaker. But the truth is, their strategy was simple. Let us come up with amendments, the many amendments, so that they could dilute the bill. But sadly for them, the first amendment passed, and Azimio la Umoja learned their lesson. So they mobilized their troops. So other amendments, Alice Wahomia's amendment was defeated, Eden Duale defeated. So I'm sure they are not going to bring any further amendments. They are likely to go to court. So that delaying tactics also worked for them. The other strategy which they employed, and this is something which should worry Kenyans. You know, when you look at parliament of today and parliament of the previous years, where we had James Orengo, we had Dalmas Otieno, we had Gitobo Manyara, parliament where we had people like Sally Kosgei, you know, people like Wanyiri Kihoro, they were debating issues. This parliament, they were not even debating anything. So it was physical fight. So I think William Ruto's team realized that they lacked the numbers. So their strategy was to go to the House, cause chaos, mark time, so that they can push or delay the bill again. And that's why I think in his communication when he convened this meeting, the speaker stated that Parliament will delay, the time will be extended if need be. So in my view, the deputy president had a very clear strategy on how to deal with the president and Raila Amolo Odinga, and he knew so well that he might not have had the numbers. Next time, I want to go into details about this particular bill. Because if this bill is going to pass, I think William Ruto will be assured that he's going to be the next opposition leader. So he must do everything. From Parliament, the DP will have to go to court. And of course, members of Parliament today wamekula vizuri. You know, I have friends in Parliament, both sides. Tomorrow I know they'll tell me what happened there. But the truth is, leo wajumbe wamekula vizuri. Because this bill meant everything for the DP. Until next time, the DP won on strategy, but he lacked the numbers. Bye-bye.